Hey y'all, what's going on? Caught me here making a list for Princess, trying to figure out what we got to do left. But anyway, Jenny's right here behind the camera, unseen.
Hi guys.
So, wanted to give you guys an idea where we're at. Right up there is Hog Canyon. That is the towers, and right over there is Trail 3. That leads over to the towers. It's Hog Canyon. We're in the backyard. It's our backyard. But we've got a lot done on Princess. Figure we go ahead and I don't know, do some justice and give you guys a quick tour. So, one of the things that we do is cut the back off this bus here. It's been kind of a pain in the ass to get up and down ever since we did it because, well, why use the stairs or the back door? So, as I said, we cut 13 feet off the back of the bus, moved the back cap forward to where it's at, and we're going to park the Jeep there, right there. So, all we got to do is a little bit of work here, finish that up. It's been quite a bit of work with this. We've been kind of pushing on it pretty hard. We've got a week left before we go to Trail Hero, so it's going to be kind of interesting whether or not we get this thing finished in time, plus get the Jeep finished. We don't even have axles for the Jeep yet. But here's the interior of the bus. Back there, you can see that we have the back wall. That saved us a lot of time. Our bathroom is a combination shower and toilet, in two in one. We'll cover that in just a second. There's our on-demand water heater, and then we're going to have a manual switchover for our shore power and our generator power. So one breaker will be shore power, one breaker will be shore power or generator, and so that's how that's going to work out. We have done the best we could to try to keep this thing as simple as possible while being looking good. I think we're doing pretty good at it. We haven't failed completely. As I said earlier, here's that all-in-one bathroom. So there's a shower head, and there's our shower handles. We're going to be coating it with plastic, so it'll be all waterproof as well, all caulked in. There's our toilet. So yep, all in one. You'll take a shower and a poop at the same time. There are going to be shelves going back probably up here. We haven't quite figured that out yet. For now, we're probably just going to cover it up and out of sight, out of mind type thing for now. There will be shelves going up and down both sides, on the right and left hand side up at the top above the windows to cover up where the white's at. But yeah, that's pretty much what we've done on the inside. Built this couch. If you camera pans down, you'll see that we've been laying out the lights and everything else. We're gonna have USB power supplies as well as 12-volt power supplies on both sides of the bus. Yeah. So, but anyway, that takes us pretty much outside. The couch is on the right-hand side that I built. The floor came out really nice. Love the floor. We love that red look. We believe Jen's going to paint the interior white. So, well, that leads us to outside. What do we have to do left? Well, we've got the under the bus plumbing and plus our water supply. So we ordered up our stuff from Class A Customs. So we got we chose to get 4 tanks. We got 2 25-gallon tanks for our fresh water, and then we got a 30-gallon tank for our gray water, and a 30-gallon tank for our black water. So what we're going to do really quick is we're going to lay this all out so we can make a parts list, and I'll even draw a real quick, just kind of get an idea how we're gonna plumb this when we get inside the bus. So we're gonna try to make sense of everything else that's sitting on top of this after we get it all laid out. We're gonna lay it out on the ground and approximately the way it's gonna go. So this tank right here is the 30-gallon gray tank. That's gonna be underneath the bus. We're gonna use U-channel to mount all the tanks under the bus. or the 2 tanks under the bus. And then there's a black tank that's going to go directly underneath the toilet and the shower on the passenger side of the bus. So with that being said, the 2 tanks here, that they're going to go underneath the bed closest to the bathroom and the sink. So those will go under the bus. The gray tank and the gray tank and the black water tank are 60 gallons. We have 50 gallons of fresh water. They say 50-50 per tank for the water supply. We've got 10 extra gallon capacity for wastewater than we do for fresh water, which should cover us plenty fine for one week or so trips. That is our gate valves to drain our gray water and black water tank. Those will go over on the passenger side of the vehicle. And then this is the grommet and the fitting that goes into the black water tank so you can hook the toilet up. So the toilet will just drill a hole straight down and through the floor, right into the black water tank, and that's how that's going to go together. So that finishes off the toilet. And we come over here to the gray water. So on that, we know we're going to need a piece of 3-inch ABS. That's what I'm making a note of right now. And so one of the nice things about Class A Customs puts the fittings inside the tanks for you. So each tank has 2 half-inch threaded fittings and then 2 1.5-inch threaded fittings. So it's a pretty much direct connection. On the black tank, it only had the 3-inch outlet because you are, of course, going to drill in for the 3-inch. But the 1.5-inch outlets on the freshwater tanks, they're capped off. So all you have to do is really quick cut those out and then put your fittings in. Of course, you're going to want to use a liberal amount of tape and whatnot when you run everything together so it doesn't leak. Granted, it'll be underneath, or well, the fresh water is going to be inside your bus. So inside our bus, we definitely don't want that leaking. But anyway, so what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to draw out what we've got going on. So here's freshwater tank number 1, freshwater tank number 2. Now off the freshwater tank, there's a fitting. The top right-hand fitting is a 1/2-inch fitting. So we're going to connect the 2 1/2-inch fittings in the top of the 2 water tanks, freshwater tanks, together. And then that will act as a vent that will go to our shore water and our fill area. So that'll go out through that vent. We're just going to do a quick, simple little line drawing for this because I'm not really doing a full-on, draw up on everything. Okay, so from there, on the lower right-hand side of both of the tanks is a 1.5-inch fitting, and then on the top left-hand side of both tanks is an 1.5-inch fitting. From the top left-hand side of one of the tanks, we're going to connect that to the gravity fill on our shore box, our shore fill box. And then the city water will run down and tee into the water supply for the interior of the bus. And that'll have a little valve on it so that when the water pump is running, it's not pushing water out of the in, and when the water's coming in through the city, it's not pushing water back through the pump, backwards through the pump, and filling the tanks. We don't want it doing that. So there's going to be valves on both. Then on the lower 1.5-inch fittings, we're going to connect those together with an 1.5-inch ABS pipe with elbows, and so that they could fill each other across back and forth. And then on the lower half-inch fittings, we're going to connect those together with the T, and we'll tee those into the water pump. So we have our full, that's our water supply. That's basically how the water supply. The water pump's going to feed the hot water tank, the toilet, and on the shower. Okay. So that pretty much, I mean, basic idea of the way the water feed is. Now, with an RV, the plumbing and water, the water supply and the plumbing is all pretty much a circular system. Where it comes out, it's got to go somewhere. So it's a dead end system. So not so much a circular, I guess. So there's your three. We're just gonna represent these three circles as our drains. The drain on the left hand side is your kitchen sink. The drain on our right hand side, one of them is our gray water, which has already been line drawn to it. And on the other one is the black water. That's going to drop straight into the tank. So our gray water is going to come over, and so the shower is going to drain over into the gray tank, which will be on the passenger side. The sink will drain into the gray tank on the passenger side, and then out of the gray tank on the lowest fitting on the gray tank, we're going to run that over to the gate valve, the Y gate valve on the passenger side of the vehicle. Coming out of the black tank, there'll just be a 3-inch piece of pipe that goes directly to the gate valve on the passenger side of the bus. And there's our Y, and it'll be the wall of the bus. It'll come right through the wall. So what we're concerned about building right now, since the inside of the bus is already all done, is only from the water pump over here up through and around all the tank stuff, including out to the wall, out to the shore. Okay, all that's got to be done. And then we got to do all the underbus plumbing. So that's what we're going to do. Let's make sense of all the crap that we have sitting on top of this stuff really quick. And we're going to figure out what we have to do in order to make all of this here connect. So somewhere in here we're going to put a vent. I think that we're going to put a vent right here, actually. So that'll work out just fine. It's going to be underneath the sink and hidden. Let's go put this stuff to figure this out. So there's our gravity fill hose. Inside of our gravity fill hose is our vent line. So we got to connect those to the freshwater tank, one of the freshwater tanks. And then we're going to put a T on that vent line. But first there's a nipple. 1/2-inch nipple. We'll just push. We'll put some PEX on that. And a piece of PEX on that. And then what we'll do is we'll grab a T. I don't like really using brass fittings. The only reason why I'm using brass. The only reason plastic fittings. I don't like using plastic fittings. The only reason why plastic fittings are going up there is because they are vents. They're not going to hold any water or anything like that. So not too worried about those bursting. There's the T that we're going to use in order to connect the PEX, and then we'll use that clear line on that T with a hose clamp in order to connect it to the shore box. These 1.5-inch fittings will go here on the bottom, like I said, expressed in the picture. There'll be one on this tank, and then there will be one on this tank. So in order to connect that, like we had said, we're just going to go from that tank to that tank. We're going to use 90-degree elbows. So it'll come out, go over, and shoot straight back. Now you could use a 45-degree to kind of make it flow, whatever, if you wanted to, but we're going to use 90s on this point. And water finds its own level. So with the fill being on the bottom, the two tanks will fill each other just from filling the one at the top. So what we now know is we definitely need 4 elbows so far. So we're going to make a note of that. And like I said, we could use 2 of these 4 elbows. Could be 45s if you wanted to kind of smooth that out. But it's not necessary. It's, you know, more cost effective to use 90s, especially if you're on a budget. You know, you're not really not nobody's gonna be underneath there looking at your plumbing job really, so it doesn't really matter how pretty it is, and that's basically all the 45s are doing is just aesthetics. So made a quick note. Could do 45s, but we're not going to. Now we'll move on. Okay, so that's our gravity fill. So all we have to do is take a hose clamp to the gravity fill hose and connect that together and then put it on there, and that'll go there. Right. So for all intents and purposes, the water fill is complete and vent. So now we have the water pump. See the vents. The vent's complete. The vent will go across. We got all that figured out and ironed out. So the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we have water from the tanks to our sink, shower, and everything else, which would be our water pump. So we don't have fittings for the lower part of the tanks. We're going to use brass on those. We're going to pick up 2 male MPT threaded to PEX fittings for that, because we do need that. And then we already have a T for teeing those together. And those will tee down here and go to the pump. So grab a T. We know that goes there. About that area. Alright, so there is our pump. There's the fittings that go to the pump. On either side. And like I said, everything else is already plumbed up into the interior of the bus. And I'm just right here talking about how it's going to go, you know, the water is going to go from there to there to there to there. So now we have to make sense of all of this stuff right here and what we're doing with it. So this right here is another grommet and fitting for 1.5 inches. If we wanted to go ahead and cut the tank and put those in like that in order to allow for the shower to drain directly into it, or the sink to drain directly to it, we could. That is an option, but we're not going to. We'll probably save those for something later on, some other time. We'll figure something out for them. We like extra parts. And since they came with our Blackwater tank, no big loss, right? So we'll just set them off to the side for now. These are the sensors that pick up and tell you how full your water tanks are. When we get a water monitor, we'll go ahead and hook those up and demonstrate how that works, but we don't have a water monitor. I'm not going to drill them out for now. That will be something that we do later on. And let's see here, we can put that away. It's just a phone cover because I damage phones. So over here on the opposite side of this tank, we have an 1.5 inch fitting. That'll be our inlet for our gray water. So our shower water and our sink water will go down into that. And we know we're going to need elbows to go into there. Plus we're going to need a female 1.5 inch, because that's our drain that's going to go over to the gate valve. I do a lot of times I'll go and double check myself as I'm moving along stuff, just to make sure I'm not forgetting things. You know, there's a lot of things to be forgotten, especially when you're laying out on the ground. Just kind of pre-planning everything. I highly recommend going through and double checking yourself at least 2 or 3 times before you go to the store and you forget anything, especially if you live in a rural area like we do. So anyway, up here is the vent valve for the drain plumbing. We're going to put that above behind the kitchen sink over in that cabinet. So we'll just really quick make a note that we need a female 1.5" on for that to connect, and that goes to the bottom of the sink. That goes to the pipe that goes down from the sink, which goes to the wall. That'll go to that, and that will go up to the vent. So that's our under the sink. That will connect our sink and our shower to the gray tank. So I think that we have everything pretty well laid out. Let's just double check ourselves really quick. Make a couple notes on some more things we need, because we definitely need to get 1.5" pipe, and we need to get some 3" pipe like was noted earlier, but we almost forgot because it's not on this note. Other than that, you know, I think that everything's pretty well put together. We're just going to go down to the store. We're going to grab a few things. We know where everything's going to go. We know that connects to that. That connects to that. Everything connects there. So now we have an idea of how to do and set up, or at least lay out RV plumbing, and make yourself a quick little list. So I'm going to play with this little piece here a little bit longer, and when I get done with that, we're going to go to the store, buy the... Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Ain't she beautiful?